All right, so NBA fans, if you're looking for a deep dive into last night's games, you've come to the right place.
Definitely some crazy finishes.
Oh, yeah. We've got game summaries to break down for the Clippers and the Trailblazers, the Kings and the Rockets, the Thunder and the Cavs. Pacers played the Pistons last night, and the Suns took on the Wizards.
I'm seeing some surprises in these scores. So, what jumps out at you right away?
Well, the Clippers, they completely dominated the Trailblazers. It wasn't even close.
Yeah, I saw that 118 to 89. That's a rough night for Portland. What do you think? Was it just Kawhi having an amazing night, or was there something more to it?
Kawhi, he was great, yeah. But it was more than just him. The whole Clippers team, their defense was like a wall. They just shut down the Trailblazers at every turn.
So it was a team effort. Did Portland show any fight, or were they just outmatched from the start?
Well, they had a few good moments, especially in the second quarter when Simon started hitting some threes, but yeah, it was just they couldn't keep up with the Clippers' intensity. You've got to give credit to the Clippers, though. It seems like they're really sending a message to the rest of the league.
Oh, yeah. They're definitely looking like contenders this year. They've got the experience, they've got the depth, and they've got those two superstars in Kawhi and Paul George.
Speaking of exciting matchups, the Kings and the Rockets, that one went right down to the wire.
Oh, man, that game was wild. Back and forth the whole time, both teams just trading baskets. It's like an offensive showcase.
Yeah, and looking at the score here, 132 to 127, so the Kings pulled it out, but barely. What were some of the key moments that you think really swung the momentum?
Well, there were a few. I mean, in the third quarter, Green for the Rockets, he just caught fire, hit three straight three-pointers. I thought the Rockets were going to run away with it. But then Fox for the Kings, he just took over in the fourth. I mean, 12 of his 31 points came in those last 5 minutes.
So it sounds like Fox really stepped up as a leader when the Kings needed him most. Do you think that's something we can expect to see from him consistently as the season goes on?
I mean, I think he's definitely capable of it. He's got all the talent in the world. But the Kings, they really need to tighten up on defense if they want to be a serious contender. You can't always rely on just outscoring your opponent.
Okay, so let's move on to a team that has been exceeding expectations this season. The Oklahoma City Thunder, they had a big win last night against the Cavaliers.
Huge win. 20 points, and it wasn't even that close. Honestly, the Thunder are looking like a legitimate playoff contender right now. Their young core is really starting to click.
Now, that's something I didn't expect to be saying this early in the season. What impressed you the most about their win against the Cavs?
Well, first of all, their defense. They completely shut down Mitchell. I mean, the guy's a scoring machine, but they held him to just 16 points, and he was like 5 for 19 from the field.
So it's more than just Shai Gilgeous-Alexander having a big night offensively.
Right, yeah. Of course, SGA was amazing, but this win was really about their defense. They were aggressive, they were focused, and they just never let up.
You mentioned their young core. Besides SGA, who else really stood out to you?
Giddy, he had a great game, almost a triple-double. And Holmgren, man, he was a beast on defense. This team is scary good, and they're only going to get better.
The Thunder are definitely a team to watch out for this year. And speaking of teams on the rise, let's talk about the Indiana Pacers. They had a solid win against the Detroit Pistons.
Pacers are another team that's quietly putting together a really strong season. They're not flashy, but they play smart. They play together, and they get the job done. It's like, they don't have one superstar carrying them. It's a team effort. It's really impressive to watch.
And Haliburton, man, is this guy good. What'd you think about his performance last night against the Pistons?
He was running the show like a true floor general. 22 points, 11 assists, but it was more than that. He just controlled everything.
The Pistons, they're still rebuilding, but did you see any glimmers of hope?
Yeah, Cunningham, he's got so much potential. Had a bit of a quiet night scoring-wise, but his passing, it's already elite.
Okay, so we've got these young teams making some noise, and then you have the teams, the teams that were expected to be at the top, like the Suns, they took on the Wizards. What happened there?
The Suns, well, they won, as expected, 130 to 123, and, Durant and Booker, they were just unstoppable.
Yeah, those two, it's like they're playing a different game sometimes. So did the Wizards even put up a fight, or was it a blowout?
They did, actually.
Yeah.
Made it interesting in the fourth quarter. Cut the lead down to 5 points, and with 2 minutes left, I thought maybe, just maybe they could pull off the upset.
It looks like Poole is starting to find his groove with the Wizards. Do you think he can keep this up, especially when Beal comes back?
That's the big question, isn't it? He's a great scorer, but can he, adapt his game when Beal's back in the lineup? It'll be interesting to see.
Okay, we've talked about a lot of games here. What are you seeing, like, at some of the big takeaways from all of this?
Well, you got to be impressed with these young teams. The Thunder, the Kings, even the Pacers. They're playing with a lot of energy, exceeding expectations. It's exciting to watch.
It feels like there's a real shift happening in the league.
And the Clippers, they're legit. That win against the Trailblazers, that was a statement. They're coming for that top spot. And, of course, you can never count out the Suns.
It's amazing how every night there's something new happening in the NBA. What are you most curious about as the season goes on?
You know, it's kind of crazy to think that, like, a team like the Thunder, who everyone thought would be at the bottom of the standings, are now talking about playoffs.
Yeah, right. It really shows you that, like, you can't underestimate these young teams.
Exactly. So, okay, you mentioned the West being so competitive. Who are you, like, really looking at as the top teams right now?
Well, gonna start with the Clippers, right? They've got that lockdown defense and they can score from everywhere. And of course, Kawhi and Paul George, those guys know how to win.
Yeah, but you can't forget about the Suns. Oh, absolutely not. I mean, Durant and Booker. Come on. That's a nightmare matchup for anyone. And they've got a solid team around them.
So you're saying it's gonna be a Clippers-Suns showdown for the Western Conference?
I mean, it's early, but yeah, right now those are the two teams I'd put my money on.
But a lot can change between now and the playoffs.
For sure. The trade deadline's coming up, and we could see some big moves that completely shake things up.
Okay, so what are you, like, specifically keeping an eye on as we get closer to that deadline?
Well, got to watch the Lakers. Something's got to give there. It might make a big trade to try and turn things around. And I'm also curious about the Mavericks. They need to get Luka some help if they want to be real contenders.
It's wild how, like, no matter how much we analyze it, the NBA always finds a way to surprise us.
That's what I love about it. You just never know what's going to happen next. Every night is a new story.
And it makes it so much fun to watch. Well, we've had a blast breaking down these games with you, and we want to know what you think. Who are you keeping your eye on? What storylines are you following? Hit us up on social media and let us know. This is going to be an exciting ride to the finals, and we'll be here every step of the way to break it all down for you. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive into the NBA, and we'll catch you next time.